Hi, everybody. I'm Mel Doerr, the Aloha Shirt Psychic. I've got Kevin Chandler in the house, Kevin Loving Vibrations, and it is Thursday. And what happens on Thursday? It's Thursdays with Kevin and Mel.
Hey everyone, good to be here.
Hi,
I hope
Kevin.
everybody's hanging in there.
It's been a crazy day. I've been, working all day, so I really haven't had a chance to watch the news or to watch too much.
Well, you're not missing much. I'm
That's
sure a lot of people right now aren't watching the news with
well,
everything going on.
yeah, maybe I'm just glad I didn't look at it. But
Yeah.
let's see here. I did read a few things though. So before we get started,
Yeah.
is that I see some karmic justice taking place.
Okay.
And let me explain that Hunter Biden, okay, has filed for his case to be dismissed based on the Trump ruling because Hunter Biden is saying the same thing. And now what they're coming back saying is, grab this one. Well, the special prosecutor that was appointed for Hunter Biden used to work for the DOJ, but Jack Smith didn't. Jack Smith was prosecuting war criminals in the Hague, or the Hague, however you say it. And so that's the rhetoric they're trying to use. And
hypocritical, right?
Correct. And what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Right. So I knew this would come back to bite Cannon and bite the Trump team right in the butt. And this is exactly what's happening. And I had even brought up, I said, what about the special counsel appointed to prosecute Hunter Biden? And I said, and here we are,
Yeah. Well, and Jack Smith has appealed that case, or he said he's going to. I think he did today, if I remember correctly.
Well, and I see the 11th Circuit Court overturning her decision. So if it goes to SCOTUS, Clarence Thomas, and I talked about this the other night on my show with Arthur, is that Clarence Thomas, he knew that they were asking the DOJ to appoint a special prosecutor to investigate he and Alito. So all of a sudden he came up with, well, Jack Smith's appointment is probably illegal because he didn't work for the DOJ. The only reason Clarence Thomas did that, and then sends a note to Eileen Cannon to that effect, because she was looking for a way to get Trump off the hook. I'm sure Trump's team got to her. But the only reason Clarence Thomas did that is twofold. One, he knew that he was going to be the target of investigation. And he was thinking that if Jack Smith would investigate, guess what?
What?
If a judge ruled Jack Smith's appointment is illegal or whatever, Clarence Thomas was trying to get off the hook. That's what he was trying to do. So that's why he came up with that. Like, oh, well, it has to be approved by Congress and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Okay, well, a lot of special prosecutors weren't.
Well, we knew when Clarence Thomas added that into the presidential immunity that it was Cannon's get out of jail free card, right?
Right. The second thing is that then by Eileen Cannon dismissing the case because that she said he was improperly appointed because he didn't work for the DOJ. In Clarence Thomas's mind, that would set a legal precedent. And then he could have grounds for appeal if, in fact, he was being investigated by a special investigator. So it was twofold. Set a legal precedent, and two, to get himself off the hook. And threefold to get Trump off the hook. I pulled a card and asked if Clarence Thomas would be successful, and I got the 5 of Cups. He'll walk away in shame.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Oh, I don't see I don't see it being successful at all. You know, me and you both have said Jack Smith would appeal. He was waiting for the right motion to kind of appeal the case. I guess it got dismissed, but he's been writing a list, and he's going to take it up to the 11th Circuit Court. And I see Eileen Cannon off the case.
Okay, good.
I don't feel good about Clarence Thomas.
Off the case, absolutely. And
Clarence Thomas he's got some, like, you have the 5 of Cups. I think that's a perfect way to how I'm feeling. There's a lot of disappointment, and I feel like continued pressure. I see him leaving here soon. Maybe it's not this year. Maybe it's early next year. But and his health isn't well either.
Okay. The other thing is about President Biden, and here's what I want to tell everybody.
Yeah.
Step out of the anger and step out of the fear. Because if you listen to the anger and the fear, the Democrats could very, very, very well lose this election. And I've been saying all along that, you know, this win is not in the bag. We have to vote and we have to speak up. The way Trump manipulates people, and I am sure that his people and Trump are fueling this fire for Biden to step down. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they're behind it all. Now, some people say, no, I know they are. My guides told me they are. And I get really revved up about this. All right. They want Biden out because Trump knows that Biden can beat him, in my opinion. And they're trying to create a lot of anarchy and chaos in the Democratic Party to make the party look weak and a candidate look weak. Mm-hmm. Now, just because it appears as if they win a few battles doesn't mean they'll win the war. Yeah. We have not heard the end of Joe Biden, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
You know, I don't think he's going to step down as easily as everybody is saying. And I know we might differ a little bit on it, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. But in my opinion, my psychic opinion, to have him step down 100 days before an election is absolute political suicide, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I am questioning, and I like Kamala Harris. Don't get me wrong. I love her. But can she beat Trump? And my guides tell me to default back to what Alan Lichtman said. He's a professor of sociology, the guy that's predicted all these elections. And that if to change a candidate 100 days before an election means that that political party could very, very well lose the election. I still see Trump losing, but we've got to be diligent about what we're thinking, and we've got to send messages to our leaders, our representatives, our senators, to say, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. But my guides had told me, and my friend Beverly Kirby had predicted this as well. She's a wonderful psychic, that, you know, there's going to, you know, buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride. And here we are.
Yeah. You know,
so I just want to allay everybody's fear and tell everybody to step back from the fear, because the way that Trump, the way that he became so popular with a certain faction of Americans is to get them to suspend critical thinking. And he played on their fear and their xenophobia, their fear of other people coming in and taking over.
Yeah.
And that's what he's trying to do to the Democratic Party and the Democrats, get us to react with fear. Don't do that. Think critically. Use your brain, not your emotion.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not you, that's everybody.
But you know what, though? Even though I've thrown some cards on it, I felt like tower moment for Democrats, but I feel a tower moment coming in for the Republicans too.
Oh, absolutely.
Might look like Republicans are all rallying right now, and they're getting all this momentum. I think it's going to be even bigger on the Republican side, is what I'm feeling.
Well, I pulled a card for the Trump people, and I mean, right now, Trump
they're anxious.
Trump
Yeah.
is thinking he's winning, but they're anxious. They're not sleeping well. None of the above.
Yeah. I'm gonna share my thoughts because it's a little bit different than what you're picking up, Mel.
That's fine.
And I had felt it. I felt an energy shift with the debate. I couldn't watch it. It made me physically sick. And I even messaged Mel.
Yes, you did. I got the message. I was in Africa.
You were in Africa, yeah. I did feel there was going to be a push to get Kamala on the ticket. Now, I was very upset about it. I needed kind of a break to decompress. Like I said, it made me sick. And then I injured my lower back. And so I took that time to kind of rest and recharge. When I came back, somebody wanted me to throw cards on the DNC convention, Democratic convention. And I saw infighting with Kamala to be on the ticket. You can go back. It was my July 9th video. I said it. I do feel like there is building momentum for Joe Biden to step down.
You're right about that. You're right about that.
And I think that it's a possibility.
It is a possibility, but I see something else coming. I don't know what it is. I can't tell. But it's something that's going to bring him back up in popularity, and I don't know what it is. And it's going to happen soon. I don't know what it is, though. I can't tell.
Yeah. I'll say I was a little apprehensive of sharing that hit because I know how everything is so chaotic right now. And the last thing I want to do is to create more fear. But I do feel energy that it may be Kamala on the head of the ticket.
I'm sorry, say again.
I feel energy it may be Kamala on the presidential ticket.
I don't know.
And I think Kamala will beat Donald Trump. That's my prediction. I see so many positive things happening in the next year or two that it wouldn't be possible for anything other than Democrats to win and sweep all three branches.
Well,
all three houses.
We can't take anything for granted. And I default back to what has happened before when everybody said there's going to be this big red wave. It wasn't even a pink trickle. And so I'm telling you, Biden's not done yet. I don't see it. I see something else coming along that is going to boost him. I don't know what it is. I have no clue. But it's something big, something huge, and it's going to happen within the next week or two. And it's going to really bring the Democrats together, and it's going to really bring everybody together. So I see an event.
Yeah, I agree with that. I see Democrats coming together, even though it's very divided right now.
Exactly.
And I think that's why I feel this big momentum. You know, I'm not saying for certain Biden's going to step down, and I hope I'm wrong with that feeling. Don't shoot the messenger. But I see, because it is so important, and that's why you have so much fear in this party as if Biden can win or not. I think donors are also obviously influencing whether he stays in or not as well. But I think after the convention, it's like those last, 80, 90 days, Democrats, all the Democratic Party is out there. Celebrities are out there. They're really making those big pushes. And I see unity and coming together. And I see excitement from the public as well. And in the meanwhile, while, Republicans might look like they're doing great right now, their whole party's crashing and burning.
The Democrats cannot be divided. I mean, they cannot screw this up. But I see some big event here again, at the risk of being redundant. I don't know what it is. It's not a happy event. It could be some sort of tragedy. It's something that pulls the Democrats together. Right now, Trump is riding high on the assassination attempt. I got shot in the ear. He didn't get shot. It was a piece of shred.
Right.
And then, the misinformation that Biden is sick, Biden is old. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing that my light bulb went on is like, Trump tried this during the last election. He's old, he's senile, he's sick, blah, blah, blah. And Biden ended up winning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not throwing in the towel on Biden just yet. And my guides are telling me Biden is not ready to throw in the towel just yet.
Okay.
I think a lot of times what can be happening as psychics is that we pick up the energy and the telepathy of the situation
Mm-hmm.
and what people are thinking, like in the Democratic Party having stepped down.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we think that that is an outcome, that's a possible outcome. But that's how I would explain it telepathically.
Okay.
But I can tell you, all I know right now is Biden is not ready to step down.
Yep. We'll see. We'll see where it goes.
He's not ready to step down yet, and we shall see. But
We'll see. I hope you're right. I do hope you're right.
Well, if I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. But I want to tell you something. If that's the case, then the Democrats had really better be thinking about getting a super strong vice presidential candidate, because I think one thing that's not looking good for Trump is his vice presidential pick.
Yes, we can talk about that. Do you want to shift into that?
Yes, let's shift gears rather than talk about what
I don't
Biden
want to
wanna
focus on
do.
this all show.
Let's focus on the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you had predicted correctly. You said it, and you said it on our last show. You said it on 2 or 3 shows
last month.
You thought it was going to be J.D. Vance, and you're right.
Yep. Now, what's your feeling on J.D. Vance? I'll share mine. I don't feel that Donald Trump even picked J.D. Vance. I think he was chosen for Donald Trump's running mate. Is my head. He's got a lot of money behind him. I feel elites, even I feel foreign money behind him. To me, it feels like he was put in. And I also get a feeling too that don't be surprised if J.D. Vance backstabs Trump to try to take him off the head of the ticket so he can be on the top of it.
I never thought of that, actually. You're right. I think because Trump and J.D. Vance didn't even like each other.
No.
And I think there was some people that got together and said, here's who you should pick.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because J.D. Vance, I think, is trying to use this, obviously, as a way to get to the presidency, but he'll never be president. It will never happen. And I think you're right. I think behind the scenes that J.D. Vance is already working on ways to sidestep and to, I want to say, tap dance around Donald Trump. Yeah. And you mark my words, you're right about this, Kevin. J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are going to get into some real hair pullings. Right now, publicly, it looks like they're buddy, peachy, rosy keen. But they're going to get into some huge disagreements. And that's going to hit the press as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel J.D. Vance is an opportunist. And I think the people funding him do not want Donald Trump. They're kind of tired of him. They would love for J.D. Vance to be president.
You're right about that. You're absolutely right.
Something very interesting, too, because I don't remember his role as the ambassador of Russia, came out and supported J.D. Vance as the VP pick. They made a public statement.
Right.
So I think that's pretty telling who's bought and paid for, right?
Well, I think at some point there's going to be a lot of misinformation about Trump, but God knows what people will do with it, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he's been convicted of 34 counts. And maybe what's happening is because if Trump is convicted, then he's been convicted, but depending on the sentencing, that might take him out of the race.
I feel like it might be the health that takes him out. I would not be surprised if he has a major health event in August or September, because it feels like Democrats are starting to come together and it's explosive in the Republican Party. Like, you know what hits the fan.
Democrats will start to come together within the next couple weeks. That's what I think. This too shall pass. I have not watched the Republican convention. I don't know what's going on with it, but I feel it to be disjointed. It just feels strange to me.
Well, Trump is speaking tonight. I don't know if he's already speaking, but I'm
Does
sure
he
everybody
does he have the earmuff on?
He does. And you know, the funny thing is he's such a grifter. Anything for attention. He got a little cut in his ear. He's going on and on about being shot in the ear. An AR bullet would have wiped off half of his head.
He was not shot. It was shrapnel.
Yeah.
And I think the FBI is going to come out and say the same thing. And there's
Well,
going to be some doctors can't because it's against the HIPAA laws. But I still see some people coming out and saying, no, it was not a bullet. It was shrapnel.
Yeah. Well, and also too, don't you think that you would want your medical records released for something like that? And he wants to keep it hush hush.
Oh, well, what he's going to try to do is to keep the FBI hush hush. And he's going to try to get the FBI to say it wasn't shrapnel, it was a bullet. And furthermore, then when the FBI doesn't do that, he's going to say that the Biden people or the Democratic people got to that the Democratic people got to the FBI and that they changed the story. That's what Trump's going to be.
Did you see a lot of the people at well, you're not watching the RNC. I don't know if you saw any clips though, but a lot of his supporters are wearing bandages over their ear. Tell me that's not a cult right there.
Wearing maxi pads on their ear.
And you know what? Also, the RNC's ratings are like super low. Not a lot of people are watching. So, you know, the news media might make it seem like Republicans and Trump is having all of this big momentum. I don't even think most of the people have a lot of sympathy for Trump, especially with what he just came out of.
And I think Biden has still raised more money than Trump. I pulled a card for Trump. I ask again, and it comes up justice. That justice.
Oh, interesting.
Now, somebody had put in the comments that that the prosecutor, that Jack Smith at some point had worked for the DOJ.
So, he might have. I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm sure. Well, I believe it. So anyway.
Well, you know what? Also, too, I heard that Melania is not speaking at the RNC, which is unusual, but she spoke at the last two. So
yeah, because she can't speak English is number one, and number two, it's like whose
Trump?
Whose speech will she steal this time?
Do we want to
entertainment purposes only?
Right. Do we want to take a look? Obviously, we're sending a lot of prayers and white light of protection and healing energy for Biden. Do we want to take a look at how he's doing since he got diagnosed with COVID yesterday?
I think he's got very mild symptoms, and my guides are telling me that he's going to have a full recovery, and that right now, obviously, he's resting, but when he comes out of this, he's going to come out going strong. That's what I feel.
I feel like he is going to make a full recovery, but I do feel tapping in energetically. I do feel immediately I'm kind of tapped into, like, he's got like a throbbing headache, and I do feel like body aches.
Oh, yeah.
He's feeling a bit weak from it, but I agree. I think he'll rally. I'm just going to throw a card or two for him.
Give me a second. My other deck here. I got more decks hanging around here. Let me pull my other card.
He'll be okay. He's really got to take a rest. Take a rest and retreat. This is recovery. I think he's really thinking about a lot of things while he's recovering.
And then they talk about Biden being old, but what about Trump? Trump is 3 years younger. So let me just.
He's got the 9 of Cups, which is being fulfilled. Good hope. So he'll get through it, but he needs to rest.
I don't see it going into pneumonia. I think he's pretty much over it. I'm thinking that within the next 4 or 5 days, he's going to feel really good. When I ask about the election, I pulled the 6 of spades, and it means theft. So this means that Trump is trying to steal the election from Biden by spreading misinformation. But also, I picked this up, and some people agreed with me, and some disagreed with me, that there were some people pretend to be Democrats, and they weren't. They were secretly working for the MAGAs and for Trump, just said, oh, Biden should step down and to plant that story. And I am still convinced that there was a portion of that debate, even though I didn't see it, I'm just going on my psychic impressions, to where they played with the microphones, they turned the volume down so you couldn't hear Biden that well, and the lighting they changed. They made Trump stand out and Biden more dim. I heard Biden's answers, and he stumbled over some things. I didn't watch the whole debate. But yet Trump never answered a single question. He went off on this vitriolic rage.
Yeah.
And
it was all live. He says that Democrats promote killing babies after they're born.
Exactly.
After babies are born. Like it's ludicrous.
So, so I pulled a 6 of spades, which means theft. So Trump is trying to steal the election from Biden.
Oh, of course.
But there's a lot of disagreeable surprises coming from Donald Trump. Like, he's not going to be happy with his sentence. I pulled a 6 of clubs, and I'm reading on Trump right now. All right. Ooh. And then I pulled an ace of hearts, which means that there are a lot of people behind Trump's back that once again are coming forward, and it could be they're coming forward with true stories that are scandalous, that are going to really damage Trump even more.
Oh, I agree. A lot.
The Epstein, what was it? The Epstein thing or something? Yeah, that's going to be damning. All right.
You know what, though? You know what I think is the most damaging? Although I agree, I feel like there's a couple big explosions for Trump and his campaign before the election. I see him crashing and burning if he even makes it that long. Like I said, I feel health-related stuff. But the thing that is really going to go for Democrats, if it's Joe Biden, if it's Kamala, Democrats in the House and Senate, I see them really pushing Project 2025 and the dangers of what Republicans want to do, and Roe v. Wade.
I agree, and women's rights.
Yeah.
Right now, Trump is thinking he's winning. I pulled the 9 of diamonds. He's happy because of all the attention he's getting. Oh, they shot my ear off, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or BS he's saying.
I can only imagine what his debate speech is going to be tonight. He's going to be the biggest victim on the face of the earth.
But then I pulled the king of diamonds for Biden, which is good tidings. I'm telling you, there's something big that's going to happen that's going to unite the Democrats together. I don't know what it is, but I feel it. Now here, my psychic light bulb went on this one too. Leslie Harris said, many California Democrats are so angry with Adam Schiff that they will write in Katie Porter. I'm afraid it will give the vote to a Republican.
I don't see that happen.
Leslie, it's a good question though, because my psychic light bulb went on. When I used to work on murder cases, I was always good at figuring out motive, and in addition to maybe finding the perpetrator. So my psychic light bulb just went on and saying that another reason that the Trump people are behind this. So if they could get Democrats in the Senate and the House, top Democrats, to tell Biden to step down, it would make those senators and those representatives in the House unpopular. So, and in so doing, Trump's people are thinking they won't get reelected because they were telling Biden to step down. That's going to blow up in Trump's camp's face as well.
I
agree, but you might disagree with Adam Schiff, but you've got to vote Democrat because it's very easy for a Republican to win. Vote Democrat. Don't let the Trump team cause chaos and dissension in our party.
Yeah.
We've got to vote Democrat, period.
Yes. And I agree. Obviously, things are very divided right now, even in our party. But like I said, I see Democrats all coming together, whatever happens. And yes, this is bigger than just Biden. And I have a lot of respect for him. He's done a great job. Has not been acknowledged for a lot of his accomplishments. But at the end of the day, this is about our democracy. It's about our future. And this is exactly what Trump wants, is to divide our party. And
right now it looks like he's succeeding. But it's like my guides always say, he might win a few battles, but he will not win the war. We cannot let him succeed in dividing our party. We cannot.
Right.
Or this country, for that matter.
I think there may be a few people that are still upset and might do a write-in for Katie Porter, but I think by the time the election comes and we all know what's at stake, I don't see it being an issue. I see Adam Schiff being the senator of California.
So do I. I do too. I really do. Okay, that was a good question, though. I think. Let's see.
Well, you want to hear something juicy that I heard, Mel?
Yes, I love juice.
They say that the Milwaukee, where the convention is at, that Grindr, it's like the Super Bowl for Grindr, and it's been exploding because we have all those closeted conservatives in Milwaukee.
Oh, you mean, whoa.
The app is blowing up in the city.
So you mean that a lot of those so-called conservative Republicans, conservative Republicans, are looking for guy hookups?
Yeah.
You know what? When you said that, I feel that's true. And my psychic light bulb went on. And some of those people they hooked up with are going to come out publicly and say it. Of course, the person who got hooked up, or whoever it is, the big shot, or some of those Republicans will say it didn't happen, but there's going to be truth to it. I'm telling you.
Somebody asked what Grindr is. It's a gay hookup app.
Well, it's not for dating. it's for to relieve one's of one's libido.
Yes. I think it's hilarious.
So do I. I'm taking perverse pleasure in this. But it is going to come out publicly in the press that some of these big shots in the conservatives, Republicans, ended up having a tryst with certain people from Grindr.
Well, who was it that was in the Republican Party that said that all the Republicans have drug-fueled orgies?
But that was the guy in the wheelchair, and you know what? He was right.
They're having a party in Milwaukee.
Oh, there's going to be some scandal that'll come out about that too. Good.
I thought that was something funny to add to lighten up the energy.
Okay, I like this. Billy S. I love what she said here. She said, we voted for Biden in the primary. If the Democrats elites choose a candidate, how is this democracy? Hallelujah, Billy. I agree with you 100%. We voted for him in the primary, and he is the presumptive candidate. And
and the thing is that obviously, like, this is what's getting all the press. The press has been focusing on it for weeks because they have they're all owned by Republicans and people campaigning for donating to Trump. I think that might be where you're picking up that Trump connection.
It is.
But then, all the Democrats are freaking out. They're all meeting behind closed doors, saying he can't win, going through polling and all of that. And yeah, they just switch things up to allow it to happen. I don't get
it. I pulled the Ace of Cups, which would mean a new love, and everybody's talking about a new candidate. But I'm telling you, Biden's not ready to give up at all. And so Just like when he was really low in the polls and everybody's like, oh my God, he's so low. And then all of a sudden his ratings came way up.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Well, the
not.
thing is, I don't think that's really affected his polls, but it's that narrative that they're putting out. I mean, how accurate have the polls been?
That's fueled, I think you hit it, is by a lot of these big shots at the stations and the so-called news outlets that support Trump. And I still think that Trump's people fueled a lot of that fire too in his campaign. But anyway.
The thing that makes it hard too is that all of the Democratic donors are holding on to their money or not donating to Democrats. Who does that hurt?
The big donors are, but still Biden's making money because the grassroots people like us are donating. I asked the outcome here. I got the Wheel of Fortune. So Wheel of Fortune just feels like things are spinning in inertia right now, not getting anywhere. But I'm feeling that within the next, I see the number 10. It could be within the next 10 days, this inertia will stop. And I see launching forward, the Democrats getting their heads together and sticking together and standing behind their candidate. I knew that Trump and his people would try some shenanigans right before the election, and here we are.
Yeah.
But they won't win.
They're about to get their karma. I feel that very strongly.
Heather says, can we talk about that huge white bandage on his ear? Was that a diaper?
Well, we know he's so full of you-know-what. Maybe it backs up out of the ear.
Right? Okay. This is good. Okay. Heather M says, I have a friend who is a nurse. She said no ER doc would ever do a bandage like that. No ER nurse would either, I'm telling you.
Right.
I wonder what theatrical person he hired to do his bandage.
Probably the same person that does his spray tan.
There you go. How much in the white circles under his eyes? How much you want to bet that as soon as he goes off stage, he's saying, I'm taking this damn thing off. I don't even see a scar on his ear.
Yeah. Like I said, it's all to grift to be the world's biggest victim, to get that sympathy. The thing is that Donald Trump is so full of hate, and we have all seen and experienced 4 years of him as president. I'm not saying a lot of people are condoning what happened, and I'm certainly not either, but I don't think he has a lot of sympathy or people really feeling too sorry for him either.
Yeah. I mean,
did it happen? Maybe that would be different, but he's fine.
Did he ever say anything publicly about the people that wasn't somebody killed or those people that were injured? He makes it all about him.
Right.
Hi, Jeff Stein. Jeff said it's a MAGA bandage.
I'm just going to make a comment to somebody in the chat because I know everybody's angry and maybe not happy with what I said. Please don't shoot the messenger. I don't read on what other psychics read on. I hope I'm wrong with what I'm feeling, but I also feel a responsibility to kind of share with what I'm picking up.
And that's what this is all about. We're here to express our psychic opinions, and sometimes we're wrong, and sometimes we can hook in telepathically.
I hope I am wrong.
Sometimes we can hook in telepathically to what people are thinking as to what's going to happen. It's happened to me, and I could be hooking into that. But please, everybody's angry, everybody's mad. Don't kill the messenger, and let's show some respect because we all have our heads together here. We cannot let this cause our community to be splintered or shattered. I will not let that happen because that's what they want, and I will not let them win. So our psychic community, I feel, will pull together, and we might have different reads on things, and that's okay, but we'll pull together. Okay, I like what Just Breathe says. Everybody, just breathe.
Yes. I've been saying it for months. Breathe.
Sending messages to Democrats and Democratic organizations while I wait for stream. We, the people, have power. Focus our energy on Biden-Harris win. Yes.
Amen.
Let's focus on that.
Absolutely.
take our energy off of fear of losing and focus it on winning. It's like when I had cancer, I had to rewire my thinking. You know how afraid I was, Kevin. I was like, oh my God, is it spread? Da, da, da. I had to focus my thinking, refocus my thinking, as opposed to thinking I was ill, and I had to focus on being well.
Yeah. Well, we manifest and we create the energy that we sit in and the energy that we feel.
Correct.
So I understand there's a lot at stake and emotions are very high. And trust me, we all get it. But let's stay positive. Let's stay grounded and just breathe. We're going to get through it. And I feel like it's all going to be okay.
It is going to be okay. But we must vote and we must have our voices heard. Lydia says, now Jamie Raskin, who happens to be somebody I deeply admire, is implying that he would like to see Biden step back down. I was disheartened to hear that. Okay, and so was I. However, you know, the opera ain't over until the lady sings. I didn't say the old saying on that because I think that's denigrating to people who are overweight. But this opera's not over yet. You know, the star hasn't taken the stage. And so, all right.
What do we want to look at next? Let's shift the topic.
Yeah, let's do. This is a good one. Linda Crawford says Biden's COVID was a means to get him to slow down and rest. He'll be stronger and take us through. You know, I think, yeah, sometimes when we need to take a rest and we're not, the universe tries to get our attention. We don't pay attention to it. So it gives us something like COVID. So we're forced to step back and rest a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like my back. I was pretty worked up and I needed to chill out. And the universe gave me that break I needed.
Right. Okay. Here, Mary Hughes, she's doing something about this. I've been doing the same thing. Google Democratic National Committee or go to the Facebook page, send them a message and tell them you are one of the 14 million who voted for Biden and will not accept anyone. Yeah, people, we have our power. You have it within your power. So do something.
Well, we were starting to kind of shift the energy a little bit too. When everybody was unsubscribing to the New York Times and stopped watching the news, we stopped talking about, the debate and all of that. And then what happened last week and kind of took over the news for a little bit.
That's right. Like Foxy Roxy says, don't let them take our vote away. We, the people, voted for Biden as our nominee. I emailed Biden to encourage him to stay in the race and that we, the people, will have his back. Now, some people might want him to step down, but, I think we need to speak up and say, we voted for this man. And if we really want him to be our candidate, we need to speak up and tell some of those highfalutin Dems that are high up in the party to back off. Okay. I'm trying to see if we got any.
This is something good. Sorry, we've been engaging in the chat. It's been hard to, and we've all been conversing, but.
Well, I think we need this conversation.
I do too.
Okay. Well, we've already answered this one. Spirit Animals says, please tell us what you see about Biden. He's being pressured to drop out. We've answered that one. Okay.
What do you think of this? Because a lot of the MAGAs are kind of pissed off that Trump picked JD Vance because they're not very happy about his wife being of Indian descent. And,
well, I had said publicly on my show that I think it was with you or Arthur or both that JD Vance is married to a woman of East Indian descent, and I said, the hypocrisy in that, because he's supporting a candidate in a MAGA party that's racist, they're bigoted, they're this and they're that, and yet his wife is a woman of color. So how does he reconcile that? And I said, I'll bet you there's going to be a lot of people in the MAGA party that are going to come out and start speaking out against J.D. Vance because of who he has for his wife. And this is exactly what's happening.
Well, look how even before Nikki Haley, even though she just made me sickening with her endorsement, but before she started attacking Trump, the MAGAs hated her. Vivek Ramaswamy, they were not for him either.
I know. Absolutely. It just astounds me.
How much do you want to bet? I don't know if this is. I just kind of came to me, but we'll see what you feel. But how much would you want to bet that he would divorce his wife and leave his kids to be president or be vice president?
You're talking about J.D. Vance?
Mm-hmm. He's such an opportunist. I could totally see him doing that to try to clean up his image with the MAGA.
Is that a prediction?
It just came to me. I don't know if it's a prediction or not, but I
wasn't being cocky,
Mm-hmm.
because actually, it's funny. I don't know if you and I hooked in telepathically. For you guys that don't know, telepathy means thought transference. And sometimes we get a thought and an idea. Does it belong to us or does somebody else think it at the same time? But Kevin, exactly as you were saying that, exactly before you said it, I had the same thought, the exact same thought.
Yeah, I agree, Carol. She should divorce him.
I'm sorry?
Carol says she should divorce him.
Well, I think, here's the way I look at it. Who we choose as our partner should be between us and our partner.
Oh, absolutely.
And the government has no business putting their nose into that. I don't care if you're transgender, lesbian, gay, LGBTQ, black, yellow, green, purple. Whoever you choose for your partner is your business. It shouldn't be any of the government's. And they need to stop putting their nose in that kind of business.
Right.
Okay.
What do you think about Peter Thiel's motivation on J.D. Vance pick? Because he's the one that's funding, and I think, like I said, one of the elites that chose him as Trump's running mate. I don't think Trump really cared or had much of an option in that.
I think Peter Thiel, I guess, you mean, did Peter Thiel help pick J.D. Vance? The answer to that is yes. I don't, is that the question? I don't know the question.
Well, what's his motivation on boosting J.D. Vance for the VP pick?
To put somebody in power that he can control.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And you want to know what? When J.D. Vance implodes, and I feel like he gets caught up with all this too. You want to know the next one that Peter Thiel and all of these rich Republican donors are going to go for in the next election? It's going to be Glenn Youngkin. You watch.
Who?
Glenn Youngkin.
When you said that, I heard yes, yes, yes.
I think he'll be the the presidential pick on the Republican side in 2028.
I think you're right about that. I see an end to this MAGA stuff at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And you had said the Republican Party would implode. And I believe that. And I see at some point them coming back to what the Republican Party used to be like, before all this noise. And I see changes in the Democratic Party too. I see the Democrats becoming more progressive. I see them really speaking out a lot more for human rights and women's rights and rights for minorities and all of that.
Yeah.
So, but I do not see this campaign about Biden to step down. It might look like it's got our party divided right now, but I'm telling you, it will not work. The Democrats will unite.
I see that so clearly.
You'd think it should be happening in the Republican Party, but you know what? As much as I disagree with the MAGAs and as much as I disagree with Trump, that candidate, I got to give them credit. They at least stood behind their candidate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're all brainwashed. It's a cult over there.
Well, I think
if anybody should have rose up to to dismantle the head of their ticket, you would think it would be the Nikki Haley Trump Republicans.
I don't know if they're all brainwashed. I think a lot of them just go along with the tribalism of the party because they don't want to lose their power.
I think a good amount of them are brainwashed.
Well, I agree with you.
Maybe all.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think some of them just go along with it because they don't want to lose their power.
Right.
You know, they know what's, you know, they know what side their bread's buttered on, so to speak, which is really sad if you think about it.
Ness clarified what she meant. She said, "What does Peter Thiel want to control?"
He wants to control JD Vance, so he wants, you know,
he wants all his interests to
he
be.
wants his interests to be protected.
Mm-hmm.
He wants, you know, to reduce corporate taxes. He wants to reduce so that people in his category their companies don't have to pay much income tax.
They don't want to pay for overtime. That's part of Project 2025.
They want to pay for overtime. Don't want to have to pay for X amount of sick days if somebody's injured on the job. Don't want to pay for that. All kinds of stuff.
And I also think it's a power grab because, like I said, JD Vance is this puppet, and like I said, I see them kind of almost at some point trying to oust Trump and prop him up.
Here we go. Karen Louise said Jack Smith worked for the DOJ and Public Integrity Unit for many years before going to The Hague or the Hague.
I could see it totally.
All right. Let me see here. I'm still scrolling. I'm looking for stuff. We've got time for maybe a few more here.
Yeah.
Here. Oh, I like this. Froxy Roxy says big corporation donors are behind all the costs for Biden to step down. I won't buy a lot of products, and I won't mention the name out loud who support this. You know, that's another thing. You know, if you stop watching the news, their ratings will go down. Watch the local news, but not those national op-ed stuff. You know, if there is a product that supports a certain candidate or a certain company that manufactures a product, and that company supports a certain candidate, very simple. Don't buy the product. You know,
absolutely. There's places I refuse to shop at or refuse to eat from because of their agenda and their stance on a lot of issues.
Exactly. I mean, I go past one of them and give them the middle finger.
Right.
I want to take a big gay flag and just drape it out front.
I'll just say, you can usually tell the companies that are closed on Sunday are the companies that I don't go to. There's a couple of them.
And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Somebody noted it in the chat, one of the places.
I pulled a card and just asked for a final outcome for this Trump thing, and I got the 9 of Cups, which means his own illusion, delusion, confusion. He tries to make that almost reality and have people believe it, but a lot of people are going to stop buying his take on reality, which is not reality.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of like that smug merchant too that thinks he's better than everybody else.
And he's creating a lot of illusion, delusion, confusion for the Democrats. But let me pull a card to see if he'll win. Let's take a look. Let me just pull one.
Throw a card in if Trump will win.
If he'll win, and like continuing with this illusion, delusion, confusion about making the Democrats look bad and about keeping the party fracture or trying to fracture the party. I pulled the Hierophant. Ooh.
That's the government.
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you.
Could that be the government coming in against him?
Well, it indicates conventional government, large business, non-for-profit corporations. So even though he thinks he'll have them in his pocket, he won't, because a lot of big business and a lot of government organizations are really going to go against Trump. And then the next thing I pulled was Judgment. So that tells me that he is going to have to pay the piper or pay society back for the crimes he's committed. And then I pulled one final card for Trump, and I got the Five of Pentacles. The people are out in the cold. Trump will be out at some point.
Absolutely. I threw a couple cards in just the energy around Trump. You have the Page of Swords, which is the whistleblower information being revealed to the public. I'm telling you, he's going to have a health episode.
He's going to have what?
He's going to have a health episode.
You know, my guides have been telling me for a long time, Kevin, that he's got to watch. They show me dark clouds around his head area. Yeah. There's something with his head. I don't mean the shrapnel. I'm talking about something like major health issue with
heart attack or a stroke.
That's what I think.
Eight of Cups is resignation and walking away, but it's also can be a card of illness and not feeling well. Recovery coming in. He's got the Coffin, Four of Swords, which is retreat, resting. And I also, you have the Empress coming through and the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is my Trump card. But this is Russia, or it can be the women that take him down as well. I think it's both. And that goes with this Page of Swords, this information being revealed. It could be the Epstein stuff.
That's exactly right. And I default back to what my guides have said about Trump. The women will bring him down, and they will. It's, you know, his trials aren't over yet, by the way. I mean, I still see that documents thing being revived. I still see loose cannon off the case. I see her decision overturned. I see Trump is not free and clear in Georgia yet. I see him going on trial there. And I see Jack Smith coming up with some new stuff on Trump. So
absolutely,
that's how I see it.
So moral of the story is, I know everybody's upset, but like I said before, let's breathe. We're going to get through this. It's a shaky time right now for both sides, but we're going to get through it. Like I said, I see our party coming back together and unifying, and it feels like utter chaos for the Republicans. So,
but you know, my guides had warned us all about this, and I've been saying it for a very, very, very long time. You know, it'll look like that the Trump team scores some wins, but they will. It'll look like that the Trump team will win some battles. It'll look like they win many battles, but they will not win the war. And I've been saying it, and that's where we are now.
Absolutely. Keep those vibrations high, people. Don't tap into the fear. Don't allow the fear or the anger to take over.
Call your congressperson, call your senator, call your government people and tell them, call the head of the Democratic Party. We voted for this man. This is democracy. Stop telling him to step down. My feeling is if Biden knew that he was ill or that he couldn't handle the job, he would step down.
I agree. He knows what's at stake. So
Biden will do what's good for the country, not what's good for Biden.
Absolutely. Well, that's the key difference between him and Trump, right?
Well, please,
Trump everything's about self-serving.
Trump doesn't give one flying iota about this country or his constituents. He just is very self-serving, and he wants power at all cost.
Exactly.
And the first thing that Trump would do if he wins would say, oh, well, we're going to do away with term limits on presidents. We're going to do away with this. We're going to do away with that.
Well, we know where he wants to take our country. He wants to shred up our Constitution, and that's why it's so important for us not to allow our party to be divided. We all have to come together. I understand, we're mad at politicians, we're mad at the news, and I agree. I'm not happy with them either. But at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we keep our party intact so that we can defeat Trump, and then we can get a lot of positive change.
We should be mad at politicians. We should be mad with all this BS. We should say, wait a minute, we the people, I mean, Trump, I think, would clearly, if he became president, God forbid, with how SCOTUS ruled, presidential immunity, he would pull all kinds of shenanigans and thinking, well, he could even disband the Supreme Court. And who's to stop him?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, we need to vote. Thank you, Music Arlen, Deanna.
And you know what, Deanna? we need to speak up.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, everybody.
All right, now we want to end it there.
This has been
It's been
good.
about an hour.
All right, let me just thank you, everybody. Next week will be on Kevin's show.
Yes,
And,
and
you know,
hopefully the energy is a lot different come next week.
buckle up. It's going to be a wild week. But I think next week we'll have many, many, many positive things to talk about. And this fear will not be, and anger will not be the crescendo of where it is now.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you next week. Keep the calm, keep the faith. It's all going to be okay.
Namaste.